A songwriter writes songs all the time, whereas just writing a song can be done by anyone, anytime. I always just wanted to be the singer or the bass player in the band. I'd love to have a band where I was obviously the singer, but where it wasn't me, it wasn't my name. I always knew I'd be in music in some sort of capacity. I didn't know if I'd be successful at it, but I knew I'd be doing something in it. Maybe get a job in a record store. Maybe even play in a band. I never got into this to be a star. I bring out an engineer. Everything fits into a suitcase, and we just record. I have so much spare time during that day that it makes sense to utilize it to do something creative like that, as opposed to just sitting around the hotel and sightseeing or something. I do 100 shows a year, but I do it in fits and starts, as opposed to going on a long run. I don't like long tours. I find it much easier to go out for a short spurt every month. I feel quite sad for the young musicians coming up because they may never get to pay their rent properly. It doesn't matter what the genre nowadays. It's so much harder than it ever was. I got in trouble with the police, and that was a rude awakening. That was it. I'd seen the bottom of the pit, and it was time to scrape myself out of it. I like to be able to present myself in 2 or 3 different ways because I've never really wanted to rest on my laurels and be something that people expected. I never took a grant or borrowed a penny from anybody. It was partially because I didn't really know how to do that, but secondly, my pride would never have allowed me to. I remember being in Hollywood at the age of 16 and marveling at the stars. The idea of being part of it never entered my mind. It was too far-fetched. I think a lot of people want to be remembered the way they were, as opposed to the way they are now. I watch everybody every night, from sitting down to being on their feet at the end. And I feel a sense of reinvention, of caring, presenting these songs in their purest form. I'd been round the world 100 times and had started to forget where I'd been. I knew I'd been there. It said it on the tour map. I could remember the name of the city, but I couldn't remember what it was like. It was a massive blur. I'm amazed every time I come back to Vancouver at how much it's changed. You go away for a month and there's 3 more skyscrapers. I'm not afraid of being thought of as someone who is associated with film music. Why not? If it's a good song, what does it matter? I've always wanted to push myself and move with the tide. That's just how I am, and it's worked for me. I've only ever trusted my gut on everything. I don't trust my head. I don't trust my heart. I trust my gut. If your music is great, you will have fans, not because you have spent time chatting on social media. Music became my focus. At 13, I was jamming with my mates. At 15, I was playing clubs. Music is just such. It's not therapy, but it's a release. It's a joy. It's a pleasure. And it's a job, which is weird, because I don't think of it as a job. One day I'll wake up and I'll have 10 or 12 songs and think, oh, that sounds like it could be a record. Social media is a giant distraction to the ultimate aim, which is honing your craft as a songwriter. There are people who are exceptional at it, however, and if you can do both things, then that's fantastic. But if you are a writer, the time is better spent on a clever lyric than a clever tweet. There's a saying, it's easy to write songs, but very difficult to write great songs. I'm going through that right now. There's not an instruction manual on how to deal with success, so you just have to rely on having great friends and a good team. Thoughts are things, they have tremendous power. Thoughts of doubt and fear are pathways to failure. When you conquer negative attitudes of doubt and fear, you conquer failure. Thoughts crystallize into habit, and habit solidifies into circumstances. Trying to manage diabetes is hard because if you don't, there are consequences you'll have to deal with later in life.